Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing today, inshallah ta'ala? If you can hear my voice and if you can see the screen, please let me know. My name is Ahmed Faris, founder of ProductiveMuslim.com, Product Muslim Academy as well. Let me know if you can hear my voice and you can see my screen. I'm going to also switch to my mic so I can say salam to you guys properly. Assalamu alaikum. Can you guys see this? Can you see the video? Can you see the screen, inshallah ta'ala? Just let me know in the chat. So before we get started, we're starting in about 3 minutes, inshallah ta'ala. Awesome, alhamdulillah. So let me guys know, where are you guys based? Where are you calling in from? And we have an amazing global audience. I think the analytics on this page is telling us that, oh, mashallah. So Farah from Holland, Sana from London, mashallah. We have a truly global audience. I don't know if you guys can see my screen, but let me show you my screen. You can see where we are. We actually covered the globe from Australia all the way to the US and Africa and Asia. Awesome. We got Norway, India, Australia, US, Bangladesh, Accra, Ohio, mashallah, Finland, mashallah, excellent, Morocco, UK, Sri Lanka, amazing, alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us from all over the world. I know some of you must be very late, some of you must be very early. I would really, really appreciate you making this effort and getting on this webinar, inshallah ta'ala, so that we can rebuild our relationship with the Quran, inshallah ta'ala. Thank you so much, Jazakumullah khair. Excellent, excellent. So what are you guys' big expectations today? What are your hopes, inshallah, from this webinar? What do you think you're really looking forward that we make sure we answer? I saw some great questions that you guys posted already, but is it something that you really, really hope that we cover, inshallah ta'ala, so that you can leave this webinar with something that you'd be really, really happy, inshallah ta'ala, with? Okay, we got some great, oh, inshallah. I can see, show my screen to you guys so you can see what we have. Okay, so a lot of you want to sort of that motivation, that continue to get that, continue to recite Quran, the idea of keeping up the daily habit after Ramadan. That's the really hopefully the main goal, and practical tips to implement, inshallah ta'ala. So it's great. I mean, this inshallah ta'ala is what we're aiming to do this webinar. We're going to give you practical tips, inshallah ta'ala. So 1 minute before we get started, call your friends from Facebook, from Twitter, let them, whatever they're doing, text them, tell, hey guys, got to join this webinar live, send them this link, and let's get started in 1 minute, inshallah ta'ala. It'll be beneficial, bi'idhnillahi al-wahid al-ahad, and I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the ability to make this very practical. For Hafsa, I suggest to use Chrome. Chrome is the best browser for this platform. Inshallah ta'ala, it will be easier for you, inshallah ta'ala. Okay. We'll try this webinar, probably 1 hour long. For those who ask about how long it will take, probably 1 hour long, and we'll take it from there, inshallah ta'ala. All righty. Okay.
Oh my God, I'm losing him. Hello?
With that, just make sure you got the screen on. Okay. Bismillah. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. And welcome to this very, very special webinar on something that personally I used to struggle a lot with until I understood the science of building habits and how to recite the Quran on a daily basis, starting this Ramadan and inshallah towards till after Ramadan, inshallah ta'ala. A lot of people, when it comes to their relationship with the Quran, they're normally one of three types. Sometimes they have this relationship which is very, how can I put it? Sometimes almost like, if the occasion arises, I will recite Quran. So maybe in a funeral setting, they recite Quran. Maybe if they're, have a mood for reciting Quran, they recite the Quran. But it's not a close and daily relationship with the Quran. Some people would sometimes, have this what are called annual relationship with the Quran. So every Ramadan, they will pick the Quran and they'll recite it and make sure that, they really make the most of the Quran during that month. But then after Ramadan comes, they'll put it back on the shelf. And again, on very, very rare occasions, they'll pick the Quran back from the shelf again. And some people have a good relationship with the Quran. So, even after Ramadan, they will recite some of it. They will listen to some of it. But again, it's not very systematic. It's almost like, they recite almost more often than most people perhaps, but it's not very systematic. And for us, we need to ask ourselves, what's our relationship with the Quran? So I jumped straight into this introduction because I wanted you guys to just grab your attention, inshallah ta'ala, and make it really, really powerful that we are here not just to build a new habit. We are here to establish a connection with the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the moment if we understand why we're doing this, the moment we realize why we want this daily habit in our lives, it becomes much, much easier to adapt. See, a lot of times we think that it's about motivation, or we think that it's about maybe my iman is very low, or you think that maybe I'm not a good person. But really it comes down to having that very, very strong why. Having that strong why that tells you that, I'm here to learn the Quran because there's something that really drives me to have this relationship with the Quran. So the question I want to ask you guys, why should we care about this relationship? Why should we take this relationship very, very seriously? Why should we really have not just an annual relationship with the Quran, or once in a while in funerals or when we feel like it to recite Quran, but a daily relationship? It's almost like, the day you do not recite Quran, there's something missing in your day. Imagine, like, for example, not to compare, but for example, you forgot to brush your teeth one day, right? You'll notice, you feel terrible about it. For example, if you don't recite Quran that day, I want us all to have the feeling that something huge has been missing. So the question is, why should we care about this relationship? Why should we, really make sure that the Quran is the center of our lives and we have this daily relationship with the Quran? Can you share some thoughts with me, inshallah ta'ala, in the chat? Let me know what you guys have in mind, inshallah. Okay, so I'm part of saying to maintain relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Great answer. Again, that's a very powerful answer there, because if we truly believe that the Quran is the speech of Allah, it's not somebody telling us what Allah saying, but it's saying He Himself. This is His actual words. Then if you want to speak to Him, if you want Him to speak to you, then you go to the Quran. This is His actual speech and His last message to mankind. So when you realize the gravity of this, that's powerful. And that even by itself, think about it. You really want to have that relationship with the Quran, you need to drive home that this is the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is Him speaking to you, and it's relevant across time, across time zones, across all countries and cultures. That by itself is really, really powerful, inshallah ta'ala. Again, asma is to strengthen our iman. Great answer. Again, because the more you recite Quran, the more you realize the power of the Quran, the more you have the relationship with the Quran, the more your iman increases. And again, even let's say some of you maybe are new Muslims, or some of you maybe don't know Arabic, for example. Even then, just by trying to recite the Quran and trying to read the Quran and trying to basically read the words, the speech of your creator. Again, sometimes we kind of underestimate this idea, but you're trying to recite the word of your creator himself. Like you're actually saying what your creator is saying. I mean, that in itself is very powerful when it comes to building this relationship. And again, I don't want to use examples, but let's sometimes we have to use examples to make it very, very clear what we mean. Imagine if you really love somebody, if you really love, you want to spend time with them, you want to hear them. If they send you an email or a text message, you probably read it and reread it, and after 1 week you read it again, right? Because you're so excited about that person that you want to sort of be in love with. And ta'ala Allah from all these examples, but sometimes, if you truly love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you would want to hear from Him. You want to read His words, understand His speech, and really enjoy that relationship. Someone else to better focus on our prayers. Great. So example, when you know that this is, if I understand this Quran, if I recite the Quran, then and eventually understand it, then when Imam leads in prayers, I know what's being said and I can interpret what's being said, and it helps me what's being said. Now, to be very, very clear, this webinar will not focus on, there's many levels for building relationship with the Quran. There's, the first level is just getting into that recitation mode and trying to recite it. The second level is to recite on a daily habit. This is where we want to be at, inshallah ta'ala. The third level is to understand it deeply. And the fourth and the highest level is to interpret it, and actually apply in our daily lives. We're focusing here on that, just that maintaining that relationship for now. The Quran is like a sea. The more you give it, the more it'll give back to you. But it starts off by having that relationship, having that constant relationship. It's almost like your friend, your companion, when you're traveling, when you're at home, when you're sick, when you're feeling well, when you're in ease, when in hardship. The Quran is always the center of your life. The Quran is the thing that should be like the center of your life because it is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So again, sometimes when you think about the relationship we have with the Quran, we want us to be very, very clear that this is not just, alhamdulillah, it's a great book I'm reciting because I want to get some extra hasanat. This is the central relationship because this is the relationship you have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is you speaking to him, him speaking to you, and then inshallah in salah, you speaking to him, in dua, you speaking to him. This is a cornerstone of your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we don't understand this, if we don't make the Quran central in our lives, then what else is central? What else is important? What else is more important than you having a central relationship, that connection with Allah on a daily basis? Not just once in a while when I feel like it, but on a daily, consistent basis. And that's what I want us to all be at. We want us to really think about the Quran and the relationship with the Quran on a daily, consistent basis, inshallah ta'ala. Is this clear, guys? Is this clear? Awesome. Okay, great. So the first step I said to you, is for first point I mentioned to you earlier, those who join us late, is that we need to first see where is our relationship with the Quran. If we're not having that daily relationship with the Quran, then we need to seriously, think about why. And when we think why should we even care and realize that this is speech and the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is the cornerstone of our relationship with him. And if we want to get closer to him, we need to connect on a daily basis. Now, I'm not here to talk about, again, the levels of connection, learning Arabic, learning tafsir, implementing. Those are all things that are amazing. I want to start from the starting point, just having that daily, consistent relationship with the Quran, like the scholars describe, having almost a daily portion of the Quran that you recite daily, whether in prayer, whether it's after Fajr, whether it's in the throughout the day, but you're having a daily portion of the Quran daily, inshallah. And now we're going to talk about the bit I hope you guys are here for, is how to build a sustainable relationship with the Quran. Because again, if we don't have this, sometimes we, like I say, we get excited with Ramadan, right? We all get excited with Ramadan, and we really, going for it, inshallah ta'ala, and reciting and make as much as possible. But then after Ramadan, we're kind of like, oh man, I'm giving up. What I really want us to do is to have this sustainability. Like, we're starting a relationship that inshallah starts this Ramadan, and there's no better time to start relationship with the Quran than this Ramadan, or any Ramadan, and continue that relationship for life. It becomes like the thing that we have every single day. Just like we, alhamdulillah, most of you, inshallah ta'ala, pray 5 times a day. Just like most of you, inshallah ta'ala, give charity, or most of you do a lot of good deeds. You want the Quran to be a cornerstone of your relationship. And because the Quran, and many hadiths mention that the Quran will come as a shafi' al-ahli, it will come as an interceder for you. Imagine the day of judgment, you're standing there in the heat of day of judgment, and the Quran comes and defends you in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you've had that relationship with the Quran. If you completely ignore the Quran or do not, recite the Quran, not really, have that daily sustainable relationship with the Quran, you will give up, or, on the judgment, you won't find the Quran supporting you. There are hadiths that Surah Al-Baqarah and Al-Imran becomes as a cloud on the day of judgment to to almost give you shade when there will be no shade on that day. So think about all the power of the Quran in building a sustainable relationship, building that continuous relationship with the Quran, and not just a one-off. And this is the biggest mistake we're doing as a community nowadays, is reciting the Quran like a race, right? How many times have you heard this? How many times have you finished the Quran, bro? Which juz are you on this week? And we're kind of competing ourselves as a race. And it's great to compete, and it's good to compete for the good. But my only challenge to you is that competition should not be the be all end all where we start and finish with the Quran, but it should be the starting point that we continuously recite the Quran throughout our lives. And it was amazing that when you read about the early scholars and the companions, some of them would finish the Quran in one night. Some of them finish the Quran in 3 nights. Some of them finish the Quran in 7 days. Some of them finish the Quran at least, and some scholars say they recommend at least once a month you should finish the Quran. Look at the relationship they had. They had a very strong relationship with the Quran, that they would have that the ability to finish the Quran in one night, which is something that kind of mind-blowing by itself, but it's powerful. And it shows you that they really were connected to the Quran and they really enjoyed the Quran itself. But I want us to take a step back. I don't want you guys, a lot of times when we talk about helping a sustainable relationship with the Quran, we kind of feel we're almost about to give up, right? We're saying, man, There is no way I can read a whole juz, in one day. There's no way I can finish the Quran in one day. There is no, I can make this Quran, I can have this, recite this much Quran every day so that I can finish it in a certain amount of days. And we kind of feel deflated. We kind of feel defeated. What I want you to teach you today is a new methodology in habit building, and that helps you to start that relationship towards building a sustainable relationship with the Quran. The idea is that, we don't want you guys to just, I'm not here to say, hey, you should recite 1 juz, 2 juz, 3 juz every night. You should finish the Quran in 10 days and 15 days. And then most of you like, I barely keep up with it. What I want you guys to think about is how can I have a sustainable relationship with the Quran that it starts small, but it continues. The central idea of this whole thing is that famous hadith Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that says, "Inna Allah yuhibbu idha amila ahadakum amal." Sorry, Inna Allah loves the deeds which are consistent, even if they're little. Right? Inna Allah, I can't remember the exact wording in Arabic now, but Allah loves the deeds which are consistent, even if they're little. And that's the central idea of what I'm going to talk to you today about. That sometimes if you want to have a sustainable relationship with the Quran, sometimes we've got to scale our expectations a bit. Because if we have too high expectations, I'm going to recite 1 juz per day. I'm going to recite 2 juz per day. I'm going to finish the Quran 3-4 times. I'm going to, every day recite this much. And then our reality hits us and we don't reach those expectations. Guess what happens? We will give up on the Quran. We'll say, oh, it's too hard. I can't do it. But if we set our expectations a bit lower, a bit manageable, in a way that's very smart, very specific, very manageable, and we achieve it every day, that will give us that motivation to continue to have the relationship with the Quran. That's the central idea here. So do you guys get that? The idea here is that we don't want to have big goals. Recite the Quran for 15 juz, half a go. The idea is start very small, and your intention is that I'm aiming for sustainability. I'm aiming to be continuous. My goal is not to just race with the Quran and finish the Quran. My goal is to be sustainable. I'm going to show you guys something here about how it works, inshallah ta'ala. So there's a model. The way you should think about this is like you're trying to plant a tree, right? I'm not expecting you to bring a big tree and just stick on the ground. Okay, guys, this is the Quran. I'm going to start every Quran 1 juz a day or 2 juz a day or half the Quran. That won't work. I want you to really think of your relationship with the Quran as something that's very delicate, something that's very precious, and something that's very fragile. Like if you overdo it, you might give up. If you push yourself too hard, you might say, this is too much for you. But if you slowly nurture this relationship, if you slowly start small and grow with this relationship, so that maybe you start with very small amount of verses and really nurture it as much as possible, nurture it with continuity, nurture it with intention, nurture it with understanding, nurture it with implementation, this tree, this small plant will become a strong, solid tree, and you'll find yourself reciting the Quran on a daily basis, and it's part and parcel of who you are. And you'll never ever give up reciting the Quran because it will become part and parcel of who you are. That's where we want to start. It's not about, starting big. It's not about pushing yourself so hard that you give up. It's not about saying, I need more motivation, or I need more iman, or I need, I'm such a bad person. What's wrong with me? It's saying, hey, how can we make this so effortless for you that when I start reciting and I continue reciting, it slowly grows upon me, and it's very powerful for me, inshallah ta'ala. Is this clear, guys? Is inshallah clear? Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you briefly about sort of the science behind this so that you can understand what I mean by this and how to actually practically implement this. So again, not theory, but practical. This is what we do at Productive Muslim Academy. At Productive Muslim Academy, your online platform for self-development, our goal is to give you those practical solutions. Sometimes we hear a lot of great things, wake up for tahajjud, pray 20 rak'ah, do all these great things, but no one explains to us the practicalities of it. And inshallah ta'ala, the Productive Muslim Academy, the idea is to give you the practicalities of leading a spiritually, physically, and socially productive lifestyle that is aligned to the Quran and Sunnah. So let's start off with the science behind this so that you guys understand why this works, and why this methodology works. Think about motivation, right? You either have low motivation or high motivation. So for example, if I tell you, go run a marathon, that requires high motivation, right? It's not easy for you to do that. But if I tell you, how about you put on your shoes and just walk like 1 minute around the block, or just put on your shoes, forget even walking, just put on your running shoes, that's it. That's low motivation. It does not require a lot of effort. Now think about the ability that there's things which are easy to do and the things that are hard to do. So again, something like, go run a marathon, it's very, very hard to do. But something like just put on your shoes, you say, oh, that's easy, I can do that. Now, if you want to get things done, if you want to change your behavior, if you want to start something new, something you're not used to, something that you find hard for you to do, you need to think of it, how can I make it as easy as possible so that it requires low motivation? I learned this from a guy called BJ Fogg, who runs a website called tinyhabits.com. And I highly recommend you guys to check out his program. It's very, very useful. And it helps you to how to change behavior. This applies to health, to spirituality, to many areas of your lives. So again, let's talk about now Quran again. If I tell you you should recite 1 juz of Quran, and you're somebody who does not recite that normally, you don't recite that much normally, or I ask you to, if you recite that much, do 3 or double it, or do 5 juz, you will find it hard to do and require high motivation. You really have to really push yourself to get it done. But if I tell you, how about you recite just half a page or just 1 line? Now you might think that's pathetic. You might think, well, no, I could do more. I'm saying, fine, you can do more, but you're only going to push, you're only going to basically, what the actual behavior they're trying to do is at least I should recite this small amount, whatever the small amount is for you, something tiny, something small for you. Again, this is easy to do for most people, and this requires low motivation. If you have absolutely zero relationship with the Quran, you're somebody who just does not recite the Quran, you find it so hard even like open the Quran, maybe the thing for you to do is just open the Quran. Like that's the easy thing, you just open the Quran. If you're somebody who really is struggling with the Quran itself, maybe this is a small action you can do. And the idea here is that as much as possible, try to make things easy. If you want to change a behavior, try to make things easy by making it, requiring low motivation and not making it harder on yourself. And that's sort of the nature of human ability. Now I'm going to quickly show you something here so you can see what I mean by this. You see this, this equation here, B equals M equals T. B stands for behavior. So any behavior you're trying to change, I want to recite more Quran. I want to exercise more. I want to eat healthy food. I want to stop checking my phones very often. Any behavior you're trying to do is a function of your motivation, how much motivation you have, which we said is either high or low, and how much ability it requires. Is it easy or is it hard? And finally, you need some kind of reminder, a trigger. Something tells you, boom, it's time for you to recite Quran now. Or boom, it's time for you to go for a walk. Or boom, it's time for you to do this particular behavior. Now, those triggers you can decide in advance, but this is what you need to think about. Motivation is overrated. You can, sometimes it's so hard for us to be always motivated. Someday, like, even Ramadan, sometimes by mid of Ramadan, most of us will feel very tired if we overdo, think about doing things too much, for example. And that requires a lot of motivation. So we need to rely less on motivation, and we need to make things as easy as possible. And again, it's not about lowering expectations. It's not about I'm not telling you that you should just recite 1 line of Quran for life. I'm saying is you want to start a new behavior, and you want to make sure this new behavior sticks around. That's the key of central idea. And for that to stick around, you need to start small. Once that small behavior has stuck around for a while, you can then increase it to make it bigger. And slowly, that plant will continue to grow, and you'll to sort of nurture this plant and make it happen. So just want to double check. Are you guys on board with me? Is this clear? Are you guys on board with inshallah ta'ala? Okay, awesome. So you want to start very, very small and not overdo it, but with the intention that you're nurturing this relationship. Like I said, it's not about saying start small and stay small. It's saying, inshallah ta'ala, my goal is to grow. but I will not try to push it. I'm not trying to start to push myself to grow. I'm going to start very small and slowly nurture it and make sure that it happens. Now, like I said, if anything if it's above this line, it's called action line here. And you don't go into too much technicalities, but the idea is that if the easier something is and the lower the motivation, the more likely this behavior you'll be able to stick around with it and you'll start it. And you can think about this about any area of your life. Think about weight loss, think about exercise, think about studying for an exam. The moment you can reduce, make it so easy and not hard, and you rely less on motivation and you have the right triggers, you're most likely to get it done. You're most likely to get it done. I'll give you a very practical example. When I started to write my book a few years ago, the idea of writing a book is like, it was like, oh my God, how would I even write a book? It's too much. It's too overwhelming. But I said to myself, you know what? If I can write just like 200 words a day or 500 words a day, I made it something very achievable for me, which requires low motivation. I made it very easy to do. And I put a trigger that I'll do it after Fajr every morning. That just putting that helped me to actually sustainably stick that behavior and write the book and finish the book. So the question is, what's that? How can you make things so easy and require low motivation so that you're not stuck? Think, oh, I can't do this. This is too much. And think about this from the perspective of the Quran. How can I make my relationship with the Quran so easy and so practical that, and requires low motivation so that I stick to this relationship. So I don't give up on this relationship, so that I make sure that I continuously make this work. So the Tiny Habits methodology, like I said, is developed by the guy BJ Fogg, and go to tinyhabits.com to learn more. It's all about these baby steps. It's saying you want to start this new behavior, which you've been struggling in for so long. A lot of you came to this webinar because you said, you know what, I've been trying to maintain a relationship with the Quran until after Ramadan, but I always give up, or it doesn't really work out. And the reason why it's not working out is because you're trying to rely on your motivation and you're making it very hard for yourself. But if you start with baby steps, just like a baby, like a small child learning to walk, baby steps, slowly and surely, you will build a sustainable relationship. And the idea is that the slower this change is, the longer it lasts. If you try to do it abruptly, this is why Ramadan almost unfortunately fails for us, because we try to do so much in Ramadan, and after Ramadan we just collapse. We just cannot keep up. But if you say to yourself, you know what, what's that one thing that I want to make sure that continues with me after Ramadan? You say, maybe I want to pray tahajjud, or maybe I want to recite Quran. Okay, if I want to recite Quran daily, then how can I make sure that this change, this new behavior that I'll be starting in Ramadan continues with me after Ramadan? That's the way you use this Tiny Habits methodology. Now, the last point is very important. Focus on creating habits that you want. Maybe because sometimes we don't have this relation to the Quran because we've kind of been told to, right? Your parents, your teacher, your ustad, your muallim, your halaqah, your friends, you should recite the Quran. And then part of us is almost like rebellious against it, or just does not want to conform. But if you want this habit, if you really, really genuinely want this habit, then you'll get it. Then inshallah, it will enter part of your life. So this is a good reminder for us to renew our intention. Are we doing this just because we're showing off? Are we doing this because we want? Or because we really, really want to, inshallah ta'ala. Is this clear, guys? Have I lost you guys? You guys are good. Okay. All right. I'll be answering we'll save those questions towards the end, inshallah ta'ala, because we'll come to the questions towards the end. So how does this Tiny Habits methodology work? It's very simple. Think of an anchor. Think of something that you do on a daily basis that is already part of your habit. For example, you might be praying 5 times a day, or brushing your teeth, or for example, leaving the house, or coming back from the house, or changing your clothes, or for example, entering your office, leaving your office. Think about something, a habit that you do every single day, regardless of where you are in the world, regardless of what you're traveling or traveling, if you're healthy, something you do every day, something that's an anchor. It's a very solid habit. Once you've thought about that for a second, think of a tiny behavior related to the thing you want to change. Example, for us here right now is the Quran. So for example, it could be, after I enter my office, I will open the Quran. That's it. All right. You might think that's pathetic. I know. The idea is, again, we're starting a new behavior. You're starting to create something new. You normally, when you come to office, you start your laptop, for example. But now it's almost like you're starting a completely new behavior. Now, if you yourself go further and recite Quran, fine. But if you say you just open the Quran and you can say, I'm done, close it, that's fine. That's your tiny behavior for that day. Then you celebrate. You say, awesome, I am amazing. I am awesome because I have done the tiny habit today. And you celebrate deeply. The reason why you celebrate deeply is to tell your brain, this is an awesome habit. I'll make sure that every day. Because our brains are very efficient. If they don't like something, if they find something too much work, or oh my God, too bothersome, you'll find it harder for your brain to accept this new tiny habit, this new habit. So you want to make it so easy, and then once you're done, it's like, awesome, I'm amazing. You can say, for example, after I get into bed, I will recite one line of the Quran. And again, you might think, my God, Muhammad, that's like so like pathetic. It's okay. Again, it's a new behavior, something you're not used to. If you're used to doing things, for example, let's say you're used to reciting the Quran often, but you just haven't had a strong relationship. So what's the minimum amount that is so easy for you to do? For example, let's say you're used to reciting the Quran every day, but you really want to work your way up to reciting one juz of Quran. Then the reason to ask yourself is, how can I make this so easy for me that I do it every day, at least as a starting point? So for example, let's say after I recite one page, right? If that's a tiny, again, it has to be so low motivation. It's not hard. If one page is so easy for you, then that could be a good starting point. Once you hit that stage one, once you reach that level of tiny habit, that stage one, and it becomes automatic. That means after enter bed, you recite one page or one line, or just open the book. After I enter my office, I will I'll recite one page, or I'll read one line. Whatever tiny habit, whatever anchor you choose. After it becomes automatic, then you can increase it slightly, and you celebrate that increase as well. Is this clear, guys? Does it make sense? That you start with an anchor, something you're already doing, something let's say you can say, after I pray Fajr, I will read one page of Quran, one line of Quran. Or after I enter my office, I will do this. The reason this anchor, that anchor is that trigger, the anchor is that reminder that this is the time for you to recite Quran. Because sometimes we forget, sometimes we kind of, with all being busy, we forget. But if you have a solid anchor, that's when you kind of have that trigger. And also, it's something like, I had a friend of mine who is a very senior person in a company. He was saying that his trigger was, after I enter my office in the morning, he will sit down and recite, a few pages of Quran. That was his trigger. That was his thing that will tell him it's time to recite Quran. So have you can say, the trigger can be one or multiple. For example, like Amr is mentioning, a very good idea. But after I say salam in my salah, after I finish adhkar of the salah, of every salah, I will open the Quran, or I'll recite one line or one page, whatever is the minimum tiny habit for you. And then you celebrate. You say, I am awesome. Say, I'm amazing. Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. Say, do sujood shukr. Really, genuinely, not like, yeah, alhamdulillah, I read one line, I'm happy. No, genuinely celebrate. Like, as if, some of that feeling you get when, you passed your exams, or you really you scored a goal and didn't expect to, something really very, you really genuinely celebrate. And that tells your brain, hey, this is awesome behavior. I should do this every day. Then next day, guess what? You'll look forward to reciting the Quran again. Next day, you say, oh, wow, that was such a good feel. Let me do that again. And you start building a sustainable habit. And then you start nurturing this habit and slowly growing. And slowly, as it becomes more and more automatic, you will reach that point where perhaps you recite, a juz of Quran a day, and it will not be hard for you because you find it very, very easy. Is this clear, guys? Okay, awesome. Okay, so it sounds like this. So you have to now, I want you to write down your recipe. So I want you to actually write down. So after I put in a very clear anchor, what is that anchor? What's that habit that you attach recite the Quran with? I will, and put in the tiny habit. Again, what's tiny for you? Maybe for you, tiny is like I said, it's open the Quran. Maybe tiny for you is like just one line. Maybe tiny for you is half a page. Maybe tiny for you is one page. Whatever is so tiny that you don't even think of, does not require any motivation. And then think about how will you celebrate. So if you can share with me just examples in the chat of you saying, after I blank, what will that blank be? I will blank when it comes to Quran. So I can see, make sure that you guys got it right, inshallah. So just share with me some of your recipes. We call tiny habit recipes. After I do what? I will, recite this much, or read with one line, or just open the Quran. or even just pick the Quran from the shelf, whatever it is, that tiny behavior that's for you. So I want you to write down the full recipe, okay? So Queen Alan saying, after I make my morning dua, okay, I recite Juz al-Quran. Now again, that's a lot. So, okay, you need to make it tinier. As I said, Juz al-Quran is so much. Make it tinier, Queen Alan. So think about how can you make it really tiny. Again, Juz al-Quran, again, it might be long for you. Make it so tiny. Okay, after I pray Fajr, I'll read 1/4 of Juz. That's also too long, Salihah. Make it shorter, make it tinier. Again, let's not try to compete on who can do more. I want you guys to compete on who can do less. Because I want you to make it very easy. Jack, after I pray Asr, I recite 2 lines of Quran. Perfect. Jack, what I recommend you to do is also make it so tiny, make it so easy. Like, that's awesome. I like it. 2 lines of Quran. It's like low motivation. It will be so easy and you'll get it done, inshallah. Awesome. Okay, Surya, after I come home from work, I'll read half a page of Quran. Again, make sure that when you come back work from home, is that the first thing you'll do, or is it something else you do before that? Make sure it's very clear that this anchor has to be very powerful. Like I like Jack's one, because after Asr, you're sitting there, you know exactly, okay, Asr, I've done, let me do something else. Okay. After I make my prayers, I'll read 10 verses of the Quran. I think I recommend not put a number for the number of verses, because sometimes, mashallah, some verses of the Quran are like 1 page long, right? So you want to keep it if you put 10 verses, you might be, oh my God, it's like 2 pages now. So make it very, very small, and you're celebrating that progress. Okay? After I pray Fajr, I read 5 verses. Okay, sounds good. Before going to sleep, now again, don't use before format, use after format, because before it's like when in before, like 2 hours before, 1 hour before. After is make it very concrete, and make sure it's very concrete what you're doing, the anchor. So don't use before, use after. So for example, after I go to bed, or after I sit in my bed, or after I put on my pajamas, or after I brush my teeth at night, I'll sit and recite 2 lines, for example. Whatever it is that works for you, but make sure it's after, okay? Okay. All right, you guys are getting this. Awesome. Okay, a lot of you guys are linking to Salah, which is great. But again, make sure this is something that you can continue. It should be a very strong anchor, and you will continue. And most important, make it tiny. What I recommend, even if you think you can do 1 page, and 1 page is so easy for you, I recommend starting off with 1 line. And so this is my tiny behavior for the day, 1 line. Now, again, this does not mean you cannot do more on that day. You can do more. But what you're celebrating, what you're saying I'm awesome for, is saying I'm going to ask for sight for 1 line. That's where you're going to be at. You say I'm celebrating the fact that I did that 1 line. Now, if in that one, after you recite 1 line, you say, hey, I'm feeling so good, let me go the full juzz, go for it. No one's stopping you. In fact, I'll encourage you. But you're not holding yourself accountable for doing the full juzz. You're holding yourself accountable for saying just 1 line, right? And then you celebrate, say, awesome, it's amazing. And then you start again. But don't force yourself to do more. We always fall in this habit. We want to do more. We want to reach change fast. Change takes time. And baby steps takes time. Remember, the Quran was revealed over 23 years. It was not revealed overnight. And that's a reminder that you take time. Take time to absorb this relationship with the Quran, to build this relationship with the Quran, and not to go all out for it, inshallah ta'ala. Okay? All right, Surya, like yours, after putting my PJs and doing my wudu, I would read 3 of the Quran. Very specific. Very powerful. Maybe I like that. That's very, very specific, inshallah. Okay. So again, reminder: it's all about baby steps. Don't overdo it. You're trying to build a lifelong relationship. You're not trying to get there fast. You're gonna get there slower. The slower the change, the longer it lasts. If you do it this quickly, you will fail. You will fall flat. I'm telling you from now. If you try to push yourself too hard, by the second day, I can't feel like it. But if you say, you know what, just 1 line, man. It's like, just open the Quran, and you celebrate it. It becomes easier and easier for you. And inshallah ta'ala, within a week, you'll find it easy for you to grow with this habit, inshallah ta'ala. And make sure there's something that you actually want, and something that you want to make happen, inshallah ta'ala. So with this, I want to pass on the mic to 2 very special guests who are on today's webinar. They've actually developed an app that basically help you build this relationship with the Quran. They're part of the Q for Quran team. You go to qforquran.com. Now, I'll be completely honest. I haven't actually tried the app yet. So this is not a formal endorsement, but I've seen the development. I've been talking to the founder, Brother Habib, for a long time, and I've seen, mashallah, the amount of effort, the amount of work he's done, the amount of research on how to build the habits. That's why I was very excited to partner with him on this webinar, because he's really, taking the latest science of habit building and community building and using the power of that to help us all recite Quran more on a daily basis. So I'm going to invite two speakers from there, inshallah ta'ala, to give us a tour and to give us more about the Q for Quran app and how it works, so you guys can get inshallah ta'ala. So, Brother Atif, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
I think we might have lost him. Let me just re-invite them again so that everyone's there, inshallah ta'ala. Okay. Let me re-invite them. So we're going to be taking questions, inshallah ta'ala, towards the end. Again, we're going to spend 15-20 minutes with the Q for Quran team, inshallah ta'ala. But I really, really hope you guys, have been benefit, inshallah ta'ala, from it, because it's very, very powerful. What I really like about them, they had a very, very practical app, inshallah ta'ala. And let me just quickly find them so that I can invite Atif. Okay, so I'm inviting Brother Atif right now. And then soon after that, we'll invite Brother Habib, who's the founder of Q for Quran, inshallah ta'ala. So just again, while we're waiting for him to come online, was this practical, guys? Was this practical? Was this useful? Awesome. Okay, I'm really, really excited to get make sure you guys actually starting on this. Okay. So just double checking if Atif can join us, and he's online now. So I will basically go quiet, and he will take over. Atif, can you hear me? Oops, we lost him again. Alrighty, let me just quickly. If you, while waiting, check out the Q for Quran app. There's a green button. Please download the Q for Quran app, and you can hear it, inshallah ta'ala. I'll also be inviting the founder, Habib, right now to the app, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, we have Habib on the screen. And you can start, inshallah ta'ala.
Hello, assalamu alaikum. Once again, Faiz, it was a really great lecture about habit building and how you continue on it. It was really, really great to learn all those things again from you. We are actually, as Faiz said, that we are actually developing an app which will help you to develop a daily relationship with Quran. And we are following that BJ Fogg model very much in our application, where you can associate a tiny habit of reading Quran every day. When you come to our application, it's very simple. The main screen will come that will tell you your progress of this week. When you press the start reading, once it starts reading, actually, you will see the Quran, and the Quran will be loaded in front of you. It's generally between 2 to 5 minutes activity. So you read that Quran and you save and exit, and that's all. And on the back end, actually, we will keep the track that how much Quran you have read today, tomorrow, and day after that. And we will compile that together, and we will help you to finish, inshallah ta'ala, with these small tiny steps, a Quran in a day, in a year, or in a 6 months, or a lesser period. The good thing about this Q for Quran actually project is this, that what effort you put in every day, it's not only your effort, but it accumulated with a whole community. So that you will see that on the first screen, there is a community progress. So you will know that how many people like you come, and how many ayah they have read today, and how many Quran they have helped finish. So it happens like this, that you read 10 verses, another person comes, he reads the next 10 verses, and another comes, he reads the next 10 verses. So at all, if you accumulated all, 500 or 600 people finish one Quran every day. So it will kind of motivate you people also that to read Quran every day. If you read 10 verses, you'll help finishing one Quran every day also. And mashallah ta'ala, it has its own ajr. Mr. Faris can tell better about this. And as he mentioned in his lecture before, that habit building is essential with the anchor. So we will be introducing in our next version a proper habit building platform with it, in which actually you can associate your Quran reading with with your current time. For example, you can associate that I'm reading Quran after prayer, I'm reading Quran, you can click on after prayer, I'm reading Quran after university, I'm reading Quran just went into the office. So what will happen that by the end of a week or a month, we will tell that what most beneficial anchor you had while developing that habit, actually, and while developing to develop a habit of Quran reading. And along with this, you can continue see the progress of your how much you have read. You can set your weekly targets, and you can see your history also, that what you have read yesterday and next day. A good thing about this Quran is actually Q for Quran, what we have put into it, that every section is divided on based on a topic. So if you want to understand the Quran, you can read the translation also, and also you can make a daily understanding of the Quran. Me being a person who wants to understand Quran very much, I always have faced a problem that I start and I end it, because sometimes I read too much. I try to read too much on Quran, and sometimes after 2 or 3 days, this habit vanished. So I would try to develop a habit of reading like 5 to 10 verses every day. Try to read one topic, think about it whole day, and next day another topic. Yes, we will be giving, like Mr. Ali has said, that we will be giving a different translation in it, and you can choose a translation according to your fiqh, according to your sect into it, and you can and get the knowledge out of Quran into it. So please let me know if are you following me about Q for Quran, or am I a little bit, talking too much about it? Thank you, Zainuddin. All right, Faris.
So
what would you like?
Questions.
Yeah. Let's start a Q&A session. Please ask your question about Q for Quran, and we are here not only to show you that what Q for Quran is, but we are here to ask you what do you need in a Quran application, because this is the first time actually a Quran application developer comes to you and asking, you want to develop your Quran reading habit, you want to read Quran, you are the one who will be using this Quran application. So please tell us that what do you need in this application and how we can realize it in this application. Please.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So Jazakallah Habib for that, really, really helpful. And really, again, it's about using the ni'mah, the technology Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. Like right now, we're using this technology right now, this platform, to connect through all of you all over the world, and for the benefit of increasing our knowledge. So same thing. I mean, I was very excited to basically see the development of Q for Quran and throughout the past few months, and just saying that, we're using the best of technology, the best of the latest science and habit building to connect closer to Allah. Because the ultimate goal here is not about, knocking how many verses we have, or just, finishing Quran today, but it's having that daily sustainable relationship with the Quran. This is what I really want us all to, inshallah, take it from here, inshallah ta'ala. So something, inshallah ta'ala, I hope you guys will basically check this app. Again, personally, I haven't used it yet. I'm still waiting for the iPhone version. I told them I need the iPhone version like tomorrow, so I can test it, inshallah ta'ala. But inshallah ta'ala, the iPhone version come out and I tried, and we'll do a proper review on Productive Muslim, inshallah ta'ala.
All right, inshallah. All right, one of our friend is asking that he is trying to go through the application, and he cannot select different juz or different surah to read. One of the main thing actually we practice is that we either like to read Surah Yasin, Surah Rahman, or other surahs. There is no bad thing about it. It's a very good thing. We should read those more and more. But then most of the Quran is left out. So that's why actually we haven't given those options in this, so that you read the Quran which comes in front of you. So it will help you to finish whole complete Quran. And there are many other applications who are providing the whole Quran. You can navigate through it, whole Quran. But Q for Quran is about creating a sustainable daily habit of reading Quran in small portions, so that it will not give you any kind of a burden. Faris, you want to add into it a little bit?
Yep, that's all from my side. I think again, just as you mentioned, the main action points from this is right. Number one, if you have an Android user, download the Q for Quran app, check it out, and give feedback. I think the reason why Habib wanted to get on this webinar and his team is really to hear from you, because there's still, even though alhamdulillah the app is public now and you can download it, but they are listening to you. So you can actually shape the future of this app right now and make it something the way you want it to have it, inshallah ta'ala, so they can help you connect more spiritually to the Quran, inshallah ta'ala. So do check it out. It's available for free on the Google Play Store right now. And inshallah ta'ala, I think they will get the iOS version soon, inshallah ta'ala, as well. So that'll be something that we can also, for those iPhone users, to download as well. But between the two platforms, at least you will see the practicalities of this, and to make it something that you will actually use, inshallah ta'ala. And I think the Q for Quran team will give you the email address, and will also give you how to send them feedback. And I really hope that you guys take this forward, because again, it's about supporting efforts around the world that's happening now to use the best of technology, use the best of the latest science, research, and psychology, and to also to get us to connect back to our spirituality in a very practical way. That's what we hope to do, inshallah ta'ala.
This is like a Q for Quran, that as Faris said, we are trying to build an ummah on the Quran level, like bringing ummah together. Our slogan is kind of like one ummah, one Quran. So all the ummah comes together and read together Quran, not for, like, for example, their own self, but all for their brothers and sisters. Imagine if, for example, you read Quran with million of Muslims with you, and then you make dua at the end of the day to Allah that please have mercy on us, and please help us in our hard times, and make us give us an iman that whenever we are happy, we remember you in that happiness. So believe me, my friend, Allah will listen to those prayers more closely. So that's why actually one of the reason is that I want to unite all the ummah together through one Quran concept also.
Awesome, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so before we take Q&A, again, what's next for everybody, inshallah ta'ala, from this webinar? Again, number one, this webinar was sponsored by Productive Muslim Academy. This is from productivemuslim.com, and we want to build this personal development platform. So think about practical solutions to improve ourselves spiritually, physically, and socially. Right now, we're running the Productive Ramadan course, which is our course to help you become more productive Ramadan. So do check out productivemuslimacademy.com for basically practical courses like this. We talk about science, we talk about latest research, as well as spirituality and the Quran and Sunnah, to improve ourselves and to basically be better people and lead more productive lives spiritually, physically, and socially. And of course, the action from the Q for Quran team is to download the app if you have Android, and to try it out and to give them solid feedback so you can shape the future development of the app, inshallah ta'ala. With that, let's move on to the Q&A. What I'll do is I will check the Q&A that you guys have been voting on so far. Just beneath the video, inshallah ta'ala. So the first question, we got 25 votes. It says, please tell us about understanding Quran bit by bit daily and trying to apply and implement the bits in our everyday lives. And because the Quran was not meant to just reciting and or memorizing. So Shama asked this question, great question. Number one is that the first thing, again, like I said, the goal of this webinar is to have that daily leadership of Quran. That's our goal here. I am not here to talk about how to develop to learn Arabic or how to learn tafsir. I'm here just to get that starting point for all of us to get that daily habit. Because once we have a daily relationship with the Quran, then that is powerful enough, inshallah, to help. That will hopefully encourage us to go deeper about relearning and applying. I'm just going to share a story with you. There was a man who basically was a poor person. And the imam or the muaddin of this masjid noticed this old man who was very poor. Basically, he was taking the Quran, and he just was opening the Quran, and all he was saying is Bismillah, 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 Bismillah. And he finished the page, and next page you go Bismillah, 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 Bismillah. That's all he did. That's all he did throughout the whole Quran, page by page, Bismillah, 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 the whole time. Now the imam was like confused, like, what are you doing, man? Like, what's going on? And he said, like, I cannot read, and I don't understand the Quran, and I can't read Arabic, and I can't even read in my own language, but I can only say Bismillah. And the least thing I could do just to have that relationship with the Quran is that at least I'll open page by page, and I will actually go line by line. And even though I know I'm not reciting the Quran, but I just want to have that daily relationship with the Quran. So it's a very powerful reminder for us. I mean, for some of us, alhamdulillah, we've been taught Quran as we were young. We learned the Quran. It's a powerful reminder is to have that daily relationship, because you really, really want to have that close relationship with the Quran. You want to have that consistent daily appointment. It's almost like, and it's for our own good. Like sometimes if you don't recite Quran, for a day or two, it should feel something is missing. You should feel something is wrong. So I really recommend you guys to have this daily habit. We spoke about tiny habit methodology. Alhamdulillah, we have people from the technology world helping you guys with some, like example, the Quran app. These are all examples. These are all ways for us to connect. We have no excuse. We have absolutely no excuse to not have a relationship with the Quran. And we don't want to be of those whom the Prophet ﷺ said in the Quran, وَقَالَ الرَّسُولُ يَا رَبِّ إِنَّ قَوْمِ اتَّخَذُوا هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ مَهْجُورًا. When the Prophet complained to Allah, so Allah, the people have deserted the Quran. We don't want to be of those who deserted the Quran. We want to be of those who have a daily habit of the Quran. Because this is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is his actual speech. Again, it's not some third party telling what Allah is saying. It's his actual words. And if that means a lot to us, then we should have a daily and consistent relationship. But that starts by starting small and going for Ta'ala. So I know Shama, I went for a long way, but to answer your question, my purpose of this webinar is to start that daily habit. And inshallah ta'ala, as you go through that daily habit, hopefully that will open new doors. Again, we have some amazing work done by Bayina, for example, through Ustad Nauman Ali Khan and other scholars who are doing some great work on translating the Quran, interpreting the Quran. You can definitely sign up with their programs to go deep into the Quran, learn Arabic. So alhamdulillah, we have no excuse. The information is there, the knowledge is there. We just have to build that daily sustainable habits to make it happen, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, next question is, how should a busy student be consistent in memorizing the Quran on a daily basis along with tajweed? And okay, the sleep cycle, you can go, the second question about sleep cycles. The sleep cycles we've covered in the previous webinar, which is available for free online, on how to eat, move, sleep during Ramadan. You can check it out, inshallah ta'ala, on our website or on our YouTube channel. But how do a busy student be consistent in memorizing the Quran? Basically, tiny habits. So think about, when do you have that tiny habit to say, after I wake up in the morning, or after my feet hit the ground, or after I pray Fajr, what's that consistent habit, inshallah ta'ala, so that you can memorize Quran, inshallah ta'ala, on a daily basis. So think about how to make it consistent. And again, if you're not somebody who normally memorizes the Quran, start by just having a relationship with the Quran on a daily basis, and eventually get into memorizing the Quran. If you just force yourself into memorizing, or if you feel if you feel it's so hard for you, it requires high motivation, you will most probably give up. So be very careful about managing it, because you don't want to give up. You want to have the consistent relationship, inshallah ta'ala. Okay. Any other questions? Habib, you want to pick up any of these questions for yourself?
Yeah, one of them asked that is there anything about tajweed? Actually, we're gonna add audio recitation in the Quran also, and it will help you to read Quran. And also you can press on the play button. You can swipe a little, the play button will be visible, and you can read the Quran also. There is one important thing I would like to add with the Faris, actually, the guy who asked about the memorization of the Quran. There is one really good app. Actually, I'm a tech guy, so when someone asks a question, it comes a tech solution for it. So there is a good application of Quran. It's called Quran Companion. It might be helpful for him also if he looked into it also. It's from one of my friends, actually. He has made this, and it seems like a very good app.
Okay, great. Actually, thanks for sharing that. This is the app that he was referring to. It's part of the QuranAcademy.io. And one of the apps within the Quran Academy is the Quran Companion. So check it out, inshallah ta'ala. It is an app that, just like Cure for Quran is focused on developing daily habits, Quran Academy.io is focusing on developing that, memorizing the Quran. So again, jazakallah khair, mashallah. And this is a beautiful thing about the ummah. We're not here to compete with one another. We're here to support each other, and to really, if there's something out there that's useful and beneficial for people, we should all share, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakallah khair, Habib. Really, really appreciate that gesture of support for our friends at Quran Academy.io, inshallah ta'ala. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of questions about how to develop a daily basis. Again, all comes down to that tiny habits. Just think about the anchor, the thing that you do every single day, and think about that, that make it so tiny that it requires low motivation, and then celebrate, guys, celebrate. So actually, if I were you, just to make it more fun towards the end, I want you guys to take a piece of paper. Just take any piece of paper, okay? Just along, and just crunch it up. Just crunch it up. Crunch it up, crunch it up, crunch it up, okay? Just crunch up your piece of paper, and you have this piece of paper. Now, find a waste bin basket that's in the room, maybe somewhere far, or something you want to sort of hit with this with the box, and just try to get it out. Just try to get in. Yes, right? That's the feeling I want you to get. Like, get in. When it's in, you feel like, oh my God, I made it, right? That's exactly what I want you guys to think. When you do your tiny habit, when you open the Quran, or when you recite, open the page, you did one page, say, awesome, I made it. You see, that is how I want you to celebrate. This is not just like, yay, alhamdulillah, I made it. No, you should really celebrate. Like, I've read that one line, I've read that that half a page, I've made it, I'm awesome. And that's how you kind of make it really, really, really useful, inshallah. Okay,
Faris, if you don't mind, if I take one more question, if you don't mind. There was one question by our one non-Muslim brother that he said that he wants to use a Quran app and how this Q4 Quran app can help us. In future, inshallah, we're gonna be add the transliteration into it. So the Arabic will be written in Roman letters like ABCD in that letters, and you can read that how it is pronounced, and you can also listen to the audio, and plus there is a meaning down there. Some of our friends are asking about the interpretation. The reason behind it, if you go into the interpretation, it's a very big C. All right, and what we are trying to do is just trying to give you a small portion of a Quran with a little bit translation with it, and then you can find your own interpretation according to your fiqh, according to your mind, whoever alim suits with you. So we're trying like better in this regard. Okay.
Excellent. I think the key thing here is that this is a starting point. Like the Q4 Quran app or the Quran Academy apps or all this tiny habits, it's just a starting point to get you started. Because sometimes getting started is the hardest thing. But once you get started and you are into this sort of this relationship, then you'll explore ways to expand it further. Maybe you'll join the Baina program. Maybe you'll go and learn tafsir under a scholar. Maybe you'll buy books of tafsir and really go deeper. But that is just to get started, because sometimes we kind of set ourselves so high and say, oh, if I don't do this, then forget it. No, start. And the Q4 Quran app or any of these apps are there to get you started, help you. Tiny habits about getting started. Once you start and you have this daily sustainable relationship, you will expand. Part of the beauty of the Quran and of Islam is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He accepts something from you, He makes it easy for you to do it again and again and again, and He increases you. Right? That there's a hadith, if Allah wants good for people, يُفَقِّهُ فِي الدِّينِ, that He will make him knowledgeable of the deen. That's part of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wanting you to go close to Him. So sometimes just getting started, have a daily relationship and grow with the Quran, inshallah. The Quran should be your teacher, your companion, your guide throughout your life. It's not a 1-year project, 5-year project, or 10 weeks or 6 weeks. It's a lifetime. To the last breath, inshallah ta'ala, you'll be developing these daily habits of reciting Quran. And I pray and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this webinar was a changing point for you, that I want to hear like 10 years from now, some of you come up and say, Muhammad, that webinar you guys did with Q4 Quran people, that till today, I'm still reciting Quran because of that, from that webinar, inshallah ta'ala. I pray that this is changes all of you, and I really pray that Allah rewards you all, inshallah ta'ala, for attending. So we said it's going to be 1-hour webinar, and we're going to sort of wrap up here, inshallah ta'ala. Again, subhanakallahumma hamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair so much for spending this time with us. May Allah reward you. And maybe we're going to have a new webinar coming up soon sometime, inshallah ta'ala. I'll leave you guys posting the emails. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.